Hi guys, welcome back. Waxing on Friday. Who knows? Well, today it's going to be folk music. West Coast Canadian folk. I'm going to feature a band that I first heard at a folk festival in Ottawa, Ontario. This was mid-70s. It was called Festival for the Folks in Britannia Park area. Couple-day festival that they ran. And the band, first time I heard them was there. And I was so impressed by them, I went out and bought their material. They'd had a couple of independent albums they'd put out, as well as one of the feature performers had started doing solo albums. The band I'm talking about is called Pied Pumpkin, and they call themselves the Pied Pumpkin String Ensemble. Now, first album, just to show you the cover, get that without the glare, Pied Pumpkin String Ensemble, featuring Joe Mock, Rick Scott, and Sheri Ulrich. Now, I could read off the songs to you, but they're probably not going to mean anything because they're all original tunes that these guys had written. But we got Joe Mock on guitar, Sheri Ulrich violin, mandolin, flute, and vocals, and Rick Scott on vocals and dulcimer. This is his big thing. I mean, it was really unique to see somebody playing one of these. And he still continues to play dulcimer. I mean, it shows up in a lot of his work. That was their first independent album. They followed that up with one called Pied Pumpkin a la mode. Get that in. And again, you can see our performers there. We got Rick in the back, Joe Mock down front, and Sheri over on the side. We've added a couple more players here, Doug Edwards on bass and Jeff Iyer on drums. And this one I found a little more accessible. I mean, they've already had one album out and did fairly well with it. They're doing well at the festivals. So they did this other one. I'm trying to look again. Not a lot of tunes that people would know. Most of them written by either Rick or Joe. Certainly well worth checking out. And it's hard to describe. It's folk music. It's kind of Celtic sounding. We've got some great violin by Sheri Ulrich on there, as well as great vocals. It's certainly a band that, well, it's hard to classify. Seeing them live was excellent. There are some videos you can see on the internet as well. It gives you an idea what they do. A lot of their stuff is not really available, these two albums at least, in the streaming networks. Now, they did do kind of a reunion. They got back together. They broke up. Joe Mock went to Japan and France, and he did performing there. Rick stayed in Canada, and he was performing, doing folk music, as well as started doing children's shows. And I can remember my wife had taken our kids over to one, gosh, this must have been in the 90s. And I only remember it was him because he was talking about playing what he called the electric snowshoe, which was his dulcimer. And it was kind of like other children's program songs, programs, but he did that as well as the folk music. So he still kept going right through, and he has a web page on, if you look it up on Google or on the internet there, he's got one, and it covers what his albums are that he has out, videos he has available, touring he's still doing, because he's still out performing. Now, when you look at the albums, he's got two. One called Pumpkin Pear, spelled P-E-A-R. And it's Joe Mock and him back together again. And they record some of these songs in a more modern version. We're up into the 2000s at this stage. As well as there's another one called Pumpkin Alive. Now, those are available on the streaming networks, and you can go back and find some of these tunes on there, but you won't find the albums I'm actually showing you tonight. Also on Pumpkin Alive, Sheri Ulrich's back joining them again, so it's really the string ensemble back together, the three of them performing. And I was listening to some of that today because I was wondering why I couldn't find them on the network, mainly because these were independent records, but these other two, they have got them available, so a chance to go back and find out what this band's all about. Now, Sheri Ulrich kind of branched off. She left the string ensemble, joined the hometown band. They had a couple of albums out, and then she was doing some solo work. And I have one of her solo albums here called Long Nights. Now this one's got a full-fledged band behind her. To me, being used to hearing what I heard with the string ensemble and the work they were doing with just the three of them, this felt a little overproduced. I mean, it's very full, it's very professional, it's very slick. It didn't sound like that raw energy and the folk band I'd heard, at Britannia Park. So while I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed Sheri Ulrich's playing and singing, it was not the same as what I heard with Pied Pumpkin, which I really liked what they were doing. And again, having the dulcimer in there was quite a twist from, just a couple of guitar players, or sometimes you'd have guitar and banjo or things like that at the folk festival. Dulcimer was something nobody else was doing. So it was great to see that. So if you get a chance, a couple of albums by band that you've probably never heard of unless you've gone to Canadian folk festivals, or maybe if you're out west you know them. Some of you in Europe may be familiar with Joe Mock with the France and Japan. But as the string ensemble, there are 2 albums available. I found them on streaming networks today. Go back and give them a listen. You may find something that really piques your interest or really feels right. It's hard for me to describe it because it's not traditional folk. It's a whole unique style of music these guys have put together, but folk is about the closest we can categorize it. It's not rock, it's not country, but it's a very honest, very exciting music. So today you're looking at the Pied Pumpkin String Ensemble, and the 2 versions I have here are just the string ensemble. And you'll see some posts on streaming networks with this photo. I would still skip to the other one, the Pumpkin Pair or Pumpkin Alive. And this one doesn't show up as much. Sheri Ulrich actually had these on her website available for sale, and I think that one of them might be, some of them are getting sold out already and they're not being able to replace them. So again, there's a place you can check, or check on Rick Scott's website. He has some of the albums available as well. Okay, that's it for Friday. Canadian folk, Pied Pumpkin String Ensemble. We're crowding into episode 2200. Goodness, can you imagine if I had 2,000 albums here with different artists? That'd be a house full. Episode 200 next week, I believe it is. So join us for that. Until then, everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.